Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is our first lab that is related to GIS. We will move on with the timeline. First, we will see the importance of GIS. Then we will see the GIS softwares. Then we will see a basic introduction of ArcMap, and then we will move on to a basic introduction of QGIS. And then we will finally conclude our lab. The first section, what is the importance of GIS? GIS stands for Geographic Information System. Now all the organizations, almost the government sector and the private sector, for effective data visualization and data handling, they need GIS, right? So its importance can be understood by a quote that a map worth 1,000 words. If you have a lot of analysis and a lot of reports, and on the other hand, if you can generate few maps out of these 1,000 words reports, 1,000 pages report, so that is more effective, right? So a map, it gives you a clear understanding of a phenomena. So GIS is not only mapping, but it has a lot of other components as well and analysis as well. And it is basically you capture some data, right, through remote sensing, through GPS, through ground surveys. You incorporate that data into a GIS database, and then using that data you produce some effective visualization maps, as well as you can perform some effective spatial queries or locational queries. And the major component in all this is a GIS database. On that GIS database, on that GIS data, you can perform multiple type of geospatial queries, multiple type of locational analysis. So that is the importance of GIS. Now moving on, we will talk about GIS software. There are very many softwares online available. The most famous of them, that is ArcMap and QGIS, right? ArcMap, it is commercial software. It is by Esri. We will see an introduction of it, and then we have QGIS, that is an open source software, freely available, easily downloadable, right? So we will start our lab from basic. We will be following a book. I will recommend you, if you can see this cover, Introduction to GIS. Edition may be changed. This is the author name, right? I have got it from my library, or you can search it online, right? If you just type in Google Introduction to GIS this, so you will have a lot of links. For example, this is the first link that allows you to download it with Google or with Facebook, right? Similarly, if you want to purchase it, you can purchase it from Amazon, you can purchase it from other various sites, right? So in this book, that is composed of first lectures, and then with each lecture we have a lab section, right? So first, starting from introduction, coordinate system, and till GIS models and modeling, right? So starting from very basic till very advanced function, this book covers all the section. Let's have a review of it, or let's have a glimpse of it. This is the first chapter that covers the introduction. What is GIS? A brief history of GIS. What is geospatial data? What are GIS operations? And the organization of this book, concepts and practices. Now, what is GIS? A GIS is a computer system for capturing, storing, querying, analyzing, and displaying geospatial data. As we have seen that in GIS, what we do is basically we capture some data, right? After capturing that data, we store that data, and then we perform some analysis on that data, right? So we will take an example and understand what this really means, right? It says that also it is geographically referenced data or geospatial data, a data that has true coordinates, that is meant by georeferenced data. So geospatial data, it describes both the location as well as the characteristics of spatial features as roads, lands, and parcels, right? So this is a basic definition of GIS. So if you go to some field, use your mobile GPS and capture data of points of location of trees, right? So you have captured, for example, 10 points with your GPS location, and then you come back and map these 10 points in GIS software. So this is a particular basic example of GIS, right? Okay, next section, a brief history of GIS and what are GIS applications. We will see them. GIS has many application in almost all the fields you can see over here, or you can just pass the screen and read this section, that it covers many applications, right? Many areas: Department of Housing, urban planning, remote sensing side, and multiple application. Uh, it is not limited to any department or any field, right? So you can just go through all this section by passing the screen. Now the next thing is to integrate GIS with other technologies. We are very familiar with GPS in our mobile phone, wireless technology, internet. So all of these things, right, they integrate and enhance the capabilities of GIS. We have location based services, like we have discussed, at mobile phone that uses GPS, right? Similarly, we have a car navigation system, finding the shortest route between your origin and destination. That is an example of GIS. And similarly, we have a mobile mapping that allows field workers to collect and assess geospatial data. So that is an example of our GIS, right? So you can start from farming, vehicle tracking, precision agriculture, precision farming, urban planning, government departments, police, army, or any sector you can take. You will have application related to that sector, right? So what are the different components of GIS? You must have a computer system, a hardware, you must have a GIS software, and you must have people who know how to run these softwares and have the skills. Here GIS analyst or GIS engineers, they have a role, and you must collect some data through various types, right? You can collect data from satellite images, you can collect data from GPS, you can collect data from ground surveys, or you can generate data using Google Maps in Excel sheet and then incorporate that Excel sheet in GIS software, right? So you have a must have an infrastructure, that is important: physical, organizational, administrative, and cultural environment that should support GIS operation, right? So this is all about a basic understanding of GIS, right? We are just skimming it, and we will be focusing more on the practical work and will use the softwares, right? So here we can see a brief history of GIS. It started from 1960. The first application that is very famous, that in London there was a disease, perhaps cholera, right? So that was mapped, and it was found out that those patients which were nearby a contaminated water, right? So they were most affected due to that contaminated water. So that was the first start of GIS, and from there GIS proceeded on, right? And now today it has a lot of applications: web-based GIS, mobile GIS, and ISRI has launched many web-based applications. You may have heard of this software, GRASS, that is GIS-based software. In AutoCAD, now you can will use AutoCAD for other courses. You will see that these GIS capabilities, they are included in AutoCAD as well, right? So its application, they are tremendous application. There is a term which is called as geospatial data. It is basically a GIS data, any data that has a location added with it and has a true coordinates, right? Latitude, longitude, and some characteristics. So that is our geospatial data. You can read this section for more understanding. We call it as a spatial data, we call it as a GIS data, we call it as a geospatial data, right? So spatial data is simply anything in which you have some data set, but you attach a location attribute or location with that feature. For example, a simple location of trees, right? If you will attach location with that it has latitude this, longitude this, so that data will now be transformed into spatial data. Now what is important is to know that we have a coordinates, right? Latitude and longitude. So there will be a term that is used called as projection. We will see how this projection is used in the softwares practically. Now this projection is basically transforming the coordinates from one reference system to another reference system. Here you will be a bit confused what projection is, what datum is. So we will cover it in detail in the coming section or coming labs, right? and just have get a basic idea of what is a vector data model, right? And what is a raster data model. So I will practically show what a vector data is and what a raster data is in ArcMap or QGIS. But till now, just keep in mind that a vector data is in the form of points, lines, or polygon. And a raster data, it is in the form of grids, right? It is basically a satellite image you have, that is a raster data. And if you have a road layer, if you have a point layer or a building layer, so that is your vector data. So raster data is usually gridded, right? It has a pixel value at each cell. What is cell and what is the pixel value, we will cover it in detail. For the time being, just keep in mind that vector data is any data that composed of point, line, and polygon, right? And the raster data is composed of grids. So this is basic understanding of raster and vector data model, right? So here this is a definition. These are 3 points, right? So you can see that these 3 points, they are our vector data model, right? And these 3 points, when they are mapped in this Cartesian grid, Cartesian coordinate system, you have understood. Now here you can see that this point x2 comma y2 is mapped over here in column 1 and row 7. So this is our raster data and this is vector data, right? And then we will see that is what is georelational data model, right? So georelational, as the words say, that it is related to GIS or locational, right, data. So you store your vector data, you store your raster data in some databases, right? So in that case, in ArcMap we have a geodatabase in which we store different features, in which we store different objects, right? And we have here the object based data model. It stores the spatial data and attribute data in a single system. Okay, this is the definition of object based data model, that your spatial data as well as your attribute data, they are stored in a single system, right? And in georelational data model, it uses a split system, that is your locational and your attribute data, both of them, they are stored separately, right? So I will perform a geodatabase data model and I will show you what is meant by these two terms practically, right? So we have a term called as topology that defines the relationship between a feature, such as the relationship between two lines and the point, right? Topology, we have a lab on topology. We will see that how this works. For now, just a basic understanding is that if you have just made a road layer, a line layer, right? Like you can see in this screen. For example, we have a line that is starting from this point and ending at this point, right? Are these two points joined with this line or not, right? So you can check this type of things by using topological operations, right? So we have in Esri coverage, that is a data format. We have a shape file. We will be mostly dealing with the shape file, right? .shp. Our vector data is stored in shape files, right? We will use now these shape files and see that what a shape file is, right? And similarly here you can see a tin, and it is triangulated irregular network. I will generate a tin in ArcMap, then you will understand what does this tin means, right? It is basically a 3D visualization or 3D representation type of thing. I will not go in this detail right now because in the practical section, when we will be covering this tin model, then we will have a clear idea, right? Now the next thing is our attribute data. For every data you capture, you have a location, right, of that data, and you have some attributes of that data. So the attributes, for example, that is for tree, if you can cover the tree height, if you can cover the tree species, that is meant by attribute data. So we have to join the spatial data and the attribute data. Here comes what we have discussed, the object based and the relational databases, right? So in GIS, we have multiple operations: data input, data management, data display, exploration, analysis, and modeling. These things can only be made clear once you go for the practical session. And then we have attribute data management techniques, data display technique, data analysis techniques, data exploration techniques. So these things will be more clear once we go for the lab section, right? So this is GIS models and modeling, some advanced type of thing. which you cannot understand at this level, but after the practical session you will have a clear understanding. Okay, let's come to our practical section. I will have a manual here, introduction to ArcGIS. I will have a manual here of introduction to QGIS, and I will be following this practical as well, which is basically introduction to ArcCatalog, and that is introduction to ArcMap, right? This book, chapter 1, application, right? So starting from here, you can have this data set downloaded. It is easily downloadable from internet. This book has a resource, right? At the first 2 pages, I think you will have a link of downloading that data set, right? So what I will be just going on with it to get introduction to ArcCatalog, right? So if you browse to your folder, right, you can click on this ArcGIS, right? So here you can see that ArcGIS software is comprised of various components. On the top is ArcCatalog, which is mentioned over here, right? You have ArcCatalog first, and the second is you have ArcGIS Pro, latest, ArcGlobe, ArcMap, ArcScene, and Python GUI, that you can also use that, right, in ArcMap. So we will get a basic introduction of ArcCatalog, right? We will click this ArcCatalog and a window will be opening, right? Okay, what catalog means, right? You may have heard of a catalog of books, a catalog of files. Okay, let's understand what ArcCatalog is. Cataloging simply means arranging something. We have heard of catalog of books, we have heard of catalog of files. So cataloging here means you can arrange your data, you can arrange it in proper databases, right? And you can have a proper order of it, right? We will be dealing when we will be making georelational data, we will be making some databases, and there we will see that how we can perform the cataloging of the data, right? Here we must understand only one thing, that ArcCatalog, it is mostly used for arranging our data set, changing the data arrangements, right, and arranging our data in proper folders or databases, right? So as a first step, what we have to do is to start ArcCatalog, what we have already done, and second is to click on amygdalate in the catalog trees, right? So once you have ArcCatalog open, the first thing you must do is always connect your folder, right? So this icon you can see here, connect to a folder. This is the first step when your window is started, right? For example, here I have my introduction to GIS, I have this chapter 1, so I will connect it with chapter 1, right? So once I clicked on this chapter 1, my folder will be connected. Okay, now you can see that once I connected my folder to this section, I have 3 data sets over here: amygdalate, amidastrum, and mean Mean-Buttes, right? So here you can see the data type, raster, shapefile, raster, right? So first thing, we have added the data. The next thing is to see what type of data is it, right? This is the raster data. If you remember, we have seen that raster data is a gridded data, right? If you have a satellite image, that is mostly a type of raster data. Second is you have amidastrum.shp. This is your shapefile. This is a line shapefile. As you can see, this symbol line is drawn. So this is your vector data, and this one is your raster data, right? So you can click any over here, and I will just maximize this window, and you can have a preview of this. So this is my amygdalate raster, right? What this raster represents we will see later, but first basic thing is to understand that this is the raster file. Okay, next is amidastrum.shp. This is a shape file of lines. It might be of river or it might be of road or anything, right? We don't know what it is now. Okay, the third one is Mean-Buttes. So it is again a raster file, right? So there is a difference between raster data and vector data. I hope that is clear now, right? So let's come back over here. Click amygdalate in the catalog tree, and in the preview tab, we have clicked its preview, and we have seen that how it looks like. The next thing is to look it to the metadata tab. Now, what is meant by metadata? Metadata is simply data about data, or it gives you description about the data, right? If you can click on any file and click on description, right? So it will show you the metadata of that specific file, right? For example, this is my amidalet. I will click on this description tab, and here I can see the extent of this data and other information which will be available. Now here is mean mutis. I can see a major description of this. Now if you can right click this, okay, just right click and click on the properties. Here you will have a clear information about the metadata, what this type of file name is, right? How many columns and rows, how many bands, what is the cell size of 30 by 30 meters, what is the format. So you can have all the information in this metadata tab. What is the coordinate system, etc. Right? Key metadata, you can have some information at minimum, maximum, if it is available, that will be shown over here. So this is all about the metadata tab, right? Similarly, you can click on this shapefile and see its properties, right? So its name, its coordinate system, how many fields it has, are there any indexes, what is the extent of this, right? So basic understanding of how the information that is available of each layer. You can click on mean mutis and okay, once we have seen the metadata tab, right? Now the next thing, here you have a question, what does FGDC means? That is Federal Geographic Data Committee. Okay, the next thing is amidstrum.shp in the catalog tree. We have already previewed it, right? So it has various management tasks. You can right click and say the properties. You can copy, delete, rename, export, etc. These type of things can also be performed. If you can click over here, you can delete layer, copy layer, rename the layer. For example, you can rename it to your choice. Amidstrum, for example, layer I add here, so that will be added. So you can rename your layers. This is a basic task, right? So until here we have added data, we have seen the properties of data, we got introduction to what is metadata and how to visualize it, right? Now the next step is to create some database or geodatabase. Database, we are familiar with database, right? So geodatabase means it is locational database or GIS database. Now in this step, what we need to do is to go to the catalog tree, point to new and select a personal geodatabase, right? So if you click over here in this folder, right, go to new section, you can see various options. You have a file geodatabase and a personal geodatabase, right? So these are two types of databases. One will have a small size and other one will be having a large size. We will see next what is in detail that what is the difference. Similarly, you can create a new shape file over here as well, a vector data, right? So for the time being, just click on personal geodatabase. Now you can see that geodatabase has been created. It has an extension of .mdb. .mdb. Now this is the extension of our database, right? So we must remember that in ArcMap or ArcCatalog, when we create a personal geodatabase, it has the extension of .mdb, right? We have created it. Now the next thing is to import something like we can import the raster as well as vector so to this mdb, right? So you can just click over here and rename it to task1.mdb, right? task1.mdb. Okay, so this is our database that is created, right? If you can right click, you will have the option of import, right? So you can import feature class, you can multiple feature class, tables, etc. So our next task is we will click import and select the raster data, and okay, in this database, what we want to do is to import some data, right? And for example, I click on this feature class single, right? Okay, here I can input my features, right, by browsing to my folder, introduction to GIS chapter 1. For example, I have this layer, right? I will add it. Now this layer will now be included in my task1.mdb database, right? So you can rename it as amidalet amidestrum and click OK. So this will be executed and will be included in this database, right? So similarly, you can include rasters as well in this database. So this is basically we have created a database and then we imported some data in that database. I think this is now clear, right? So once this is completed, right, we will have a data over displayed over here. Okay, here it is. You will see a window that shows you that the process has been completed, right? Okay, when the process is completed, you will see that you will have this layer inside your database. So we are basically performing data cataloging, right? So we have created a database and imported the layer. I think these steps are now clear, right? Similarly, we can do this process by another method, that is to use the standard toolbox, right? Okay, we have this type of processes that can be applied from Arc toolbox. So you can see this red box over here, tool. See, this is the Arc toolbox. It has a lot of tools that can be used in GIS operations. So till here, we will be dealing with the basics. That is, here you can see you have a lot of tools, right? Data management tools, data interoperability tools, import, export, editing tools, and a lot of other options, right? Geocoding, so many options we will be using in the later lab. Till now, you must understand what this basic cataloging is. You must have an idea how to create a database that was point to new, create a file geodatabase or personal geodatabase. Personal will be having small size which we have created, and you can import your layer by just using this import button, right? And you simply similarly you can export your layer as well from this option. So this is the basic of Arc catalog, right? Now the next section is to deal with ArcMap, right? You can start ArcMap by two ways. First is to go to the ArcGIS section and click on ArcMap, right? From here, if you will click from, and the second is to just click on this window which is displayed over here. Now what is the major difference between Arc catalog and ArcMap? Arc catalog, as we have discussed, it is mostly for data management, data folders you create, databases you create, import export you do. And ArcMap, that is mostly used for visualization purpose and mostly used for analysis purpose, right? So when you start the ArcMap, right, so you will have this type of window. As I have already opened few maps earlier, so they are displayed over here. What you have to do is to you will have an at the first time you will have an option of blank map here, right? So you will click blank map and click OK. Then this type of window will be opening, right? Now in ArcMap, what you have to do is to add the data, right? Same data which we have used, you will use this add data button, and you can add your, first we will be adding the vector layer, that is the shape file. It has a format of .shp, right? Okay, you will ignore this error and you will see that this data set is displayed. So this is the basic that is adding a vector layer in ArcMap environment. Now the next thing is to add raster layer. So you can add it from here like we added the vector, or you can just right click here and click on add data, and your this raster layer will be added, right? Okay, the third one, okay, we will these two will be enough for our lab, right? Okay, once you have the data added, right, you can right click and see there are various options: copy, remove, open attribute table. If I open the attribute table, this table is similar to the table you create in Excel, right? So you have some information visible over here. The length of each line is visible over here. Similarly, if you can click on this, so you will not be having any open attribute table. Why? Because in vector data, which is the line format shapefile, we have attribute, and in raster data we do not have the attribute table, right? It is usually in the gridded form. If you can just right click it, can change the color symbology of your data, right? I think till here we are clear with the basic, that is adding some data. You can add your data from here, add data button, or you can add your data from here, right? So we have added a vector layer and we have added a raster layer. A vector has an attribute table, a raster does not have an attribute table. A vector, it is usually in the form of point, line and polygon. A raster, it is usually in the form of grids or cells. If I zoom, you will see that it is composed of individual small cells, right? And what is the cell size of each? We have seen in the metadata, or if you click on the properties, that each cell will have a size of 30 in X and 30Y. It means 30 meter length, 30 meter width of each cell, right? So this is the basic of ArcMap. Adding the data, changing the symbology. We have changed by just right click, left click, and by left clicking you will have this option. You can change. Okay, till here we have learned that how to add the data in ArcMap, right? So the next is to use some basic tools in the ArcMap window, which are our next step: change the symbology, right? So I will be opening my ArcMap again, right? So first of all, let's go to the basic tools of ArcMap, right? Here we have the first tool, that is zoom in. You click it, you can zoom it to any area. Simple. You can zoom out, right? Similarly, you have a pen tool, that is to drag simply around an image, right? And then you have this tool. If you have a smaller extent, you can click on this, it will be adjusted to the window content, right? Similarly, if you have a large zoomed, you can click on and bring it back to the good level, right? Similarly, it is fixed zoom in. Similarly, this is fixed zoom out, and this option, that is to select any feature. For example, if I click over here, this feature will be selected, right? And this is to clear the selected feature. It is cleared now. And this tool is basic select elements or a basic cursor. This tool is identify tool, that is important. If you click on any feature, its information in the attribute table whatsoever it is, that will be displayed over here, right? So this is identify tool, that is important. Similarly, HTML pop-up, we will be not dealing with this. And other tools which you need to know is file. You can click a new, and a new project will be open. And second is to save as, where you can save your MXT, right? These are some basic tools of ArcMap, right? Okay, the next thing what we will do is to change the symbology, right? Okay, if you right click on this shapefile, that is .shp, and go to the properties section and explore the properties tab, right? So you will have a general where you can rename your layer. You will have this source, your extent, you will have this selection, display, symbology, you will have these categories, fields, and labels as well. Okay, to start with and to develop our interest, click on this symbology, right? And in this symbology section, let's symbolize our layer by length. I checked on the length, right? So all my lines, they are symbolized in different colors, right? So you can see that each line now has a different color, right? Go back to the properties. So this is a lot of record, it does not look good. So I will be using another symbolization technique, that is, in go to the quantity section and specify the length. Now this will define a range. For example, from 10 to 267 I will have a specific color, and I can change this color as well, right? And I can change my data classes as well, right? For example, I want that my first should be 500, my second layer should be 1500, the third should be 2000, and the next should be 3000, and the last one should be 5000. So it's your choice. You can click apply. Okay, now your data layers, they are being symbolized, right? So you can click on any, change its width, change its color if you want. For example, these having length between 10 and 500, they are symbolized into this color, right? Similarly, you can go to this raster file, go to its properties section, go to its symbology, and you can change the color ramp of this, right? And click OK. So you can have a different color ramp. For example, if I select a different color ramp from here and click apply, so I will have a different display. Now important thing is, this is your elevation values, right? How your height is changing or your elevation is changing with the lowest value of 855 and the maximum value of 1337. So this is the basics of ArcMap and ArcCatalog. Just have a quick revision of it, that ArcCatalog, it is used for handling the data, cataloging the data, creating databases, importing, exporting the data in the databases. And then we have a look on ArcMap. We edit some data, we explored some properties, basic zoom in, zoom out, and we can change the symbology of our data set, right? So this is all from ArcMap and ArcCatalog. Okay, I hope now you are clear what ArcCatalog does and what ArcMap does and how to add data and how to use the basic tool. Okay, next I have this manual over here, that is a basic tutorial on ArcMap, right? So in as a first step, launching the ArcMap, which we have already covered, right? And you will have this type of screen, blank map. I told you, you have to click OK. You have to add data, which you have already done, right? Now connect to the folders, right? This is important. If you have this ArcMap window, right, and you want to add some data, you have to click add data. And if the folder is not connected, which in our case was connected because we first launched ArcCatalog and connected to the folder, if you do not have the folder connected, you can simply click to this connect to folder button, right? Connect to folders, browse to your directory wherever your data is placed and just click OK, right? Your folder will be connected and you can simply add your data. And we navigated to the data, added some data which we have already done. Now basic tools which we have covered: zooming in, zooming out, panning, selecting an element, we have done. Identifying the tool, we have already covered. Data display views in ArcMap. This thing is a bit important. Okay, we have the one that is data view. If you can see this cursor, this view is data view. Now this one, it is layout view. What is the basic difference between the two? Data view, we usually perform our operations, and once we want to make a map out of it, we go for the layout view. For example, this is our layout view, right? In this section, let's zoom this area so that it adjusts to the map, right? Or you can just increase the border of this layer, right? Similarly, you can insert your title. Let's my first map. So I have inserted this title, my first map. I will adjust this and increase the symbol size, 48 bold. Okay. So this is my first map which I created in ArcMap, right? Similarly, you can insert legend as well. You can specify the number of columns. Click next. You can adjust other properties and you will have this type of legend inserted over here, right? So you can drag it to adjust to your screen so that it visually looks good, right? Similarly, you can insert a north arrow of your choice. Okay, this is our map that is being created in uh, ArcMap, right? So this is our first map which we have created, right? I have inserted my legend here which defines that what each color represent or what these colors represent, right? So I have inserted a north arrow from here. Insert north arrow. You can insert north arrow. Similarly, you can insert a scale bar. These are some map elements which we must have in our map. Similarly, you can insert some text. For example, if you want to, it is a very small window over here. Author name. For example, you can type it here XYZ. Just click OK and change its size of symbol from 10 to 24. Okay, apply. Here you have a author name, right? So this is the basic technique of how to create a map of your data, right? Once you have created the data, you will click on file and export map. Go to the, just browse to the file section. You will have this opened up here. Click on this export map option, right? So once you click on the export map, you will have a window which will ask you to save your file, right? So just specify your file name. For example, my first map, and just you have to click the property resolution if you want to change. Save as the type. For example, if you can save JPEG or you can save as a PDF, just browse to wherever you want to save it and click OK. Now this file will be saved. So this is a method how to create a map and export that map, right? So once it is exported, I will show you up. Okay, it's almost completed. We have over here, just browse to desktop or wherever you have saved and you will have a map over here, right? If you click on this my first map, a window will be opened, right? Now when you will open up this file, your map will be displayed over here, that is title and whatsoever you have written. So this is the method how to create a map and what is the difference between data view and the layout view, right? So I think that this is clear. We have changed symbology by going to the properties section. We have classified data in which we change the values from 1000 to other, right? I think this we have done. Okay, classifying the vector data we have already done, that we made some classes, right, in graduated colors. Okay, next thing is working with special analyst tool in ArcMap. This tool allows you to create many functionalities. It has many functionalities, many maps. First we have to go to customize, click on extensions, and you will have to check special analyst here, right? Once this is completed, you have special analyst checked, then you can create multiple tools from here. You can use multiple tools from here. For example, you can use the slope tool. Just click on the slope, browse this. Here you will have a slope, right? What is the slope? That how much your elevation is changing, right? So you have to input your elevation layer and click OK. Once you click OK, your slope will be calculated over here, right? Now you will have an output slope layer displayed over here. I will uncheck this layer for the time being so that my slope layer once calculated comes over here. Okay, here you can see that I have this slope layer, right? Now important thing, from 0 to 3 degree, that is in this color, and the higher slope, that is from 23 to 31 degree slope, that is in displayed over here. So this is a basic working of spatial analyst slope tool, right? Similarly, there are other tools, hill shade tool, view shed tool, which can be accessed from here. Either you can search the name of the tool over here or go to this toolbox section and search it from here. They will be dealt with the coming lab section. When we will be having them, we will deal them, right? Here it is spatial analyst. You can see that a lot of tools they are available, right? For example, go to this surface section and you will have this slope, view shed, hill shed, and so many other, curvature, contour with barriers, contour list, aspect, and so many other tools you will have, right? So this is spatial analyst working, right? So the last thing is to save your mxt file. First we exported the map and we use this option. Now is to save all this work which you have done. Just go to file, click on save as, and go to your folder wherever you want to save introduction to GIS. For example, I want to save it in lab 1, rename it as, and it will be saved in .mxt format. So .mxt is the format of this whole ArcMap document, which in which all the data set is placed and it will be saved, right? And .shp is the format of the shapefile, and .mdb was the format of geodatabase which we have used. So this is the basic of ArcMap, right? So the next thing is to use QGIS. You can download QGIS from the browser. Just install it and click QGIS section. I have it installed over here, QGIS 3.12, right? So it will be starting up. The same process which we have done in ArcMap can also be done in QGIS, right? So I will just give a basic overview of QGIS and see that how it works, right? So let's open this manual, introduction to here I have introduction to QGIS, right? Okay, QGIS, good thing is that QGIS is free, open source, easily available, whereas the ArcMap, that is licensed software, you have to pay for it, right? So we will go through getting started with QGIS, plugins, adding vector layer, adding the raster layer, modifying the layers, using some plugins, adding some raster layers, creating maps, and we will see a method how to download the raster dataset via Earth Explorer, right? Okay, this is the basic interface of our QGIS. We can add that dataset. We will follow the same methodology we used for ArcMap. Like, so here you have a layer section. In the layer section, you can add your vector layer, you can add your raster layer. You can click on vector layer, right? It will ask you for the folder where your data set has been placed. Introduction to GIS, right? So I will have lab 1, dataset QGIS. Now here I have CA cities and CA projected. So you can select this cities.shp and you can click open, right, and click add. You will see that these points they are added. Similarly, I want to add another one. Just add the vector layer, CA projected.shp, open, add. So it gives you a coordinate error. For the time being, ignore this and close. Here this file is being added. So this is a basic process how to add your data, right? Similarly, you can add a raster layer as well. Go to the folder wherever your data is been stored. For example, this is my raster layer. I just click OK and add it and close. So my raster layer has been added over here. I can just right click and zoom to layers option. Here my raster layer is, right? So you can see that this is my raster layer, a satellite image, right, displayed over here. So this is a method to add the vector data. This is a method to add the raster data. Now next is to change the properties. Go to the properties section. You can change the symbology the same way you changed in ArcMap, right? Similarly, for a vector layer, you can change the properties, go to the properties section, and you can change the colors and symbols, right? Similarly, you can label these features, right? If there are any labels they are available, right? For a vector data, for example, I go to the properties section of cities, and okay, here I am labeling it with name sled, right? I click apply, click OK, and I just click on zoom to layer. So my cities will be uh, displayed over here with their names, right? Just click on zoom to layer, it will be displayed, right? So this is a method how to add data and how to change the symbology of data. The next thing that is important in QGIS, you have plugins, right? So just go to manage and install plugin. You will have a lot of plugins which are developed by various GIS developers and they are available online. You can see some installed plugins. If there is not installed, for example, there is a plugin named as semi automatic, right? Just click on it. Okay, just here it is. In not installed section, I entered semi. It showed me that semi automatic classification plugin is there. Just click on install plugin and it will be installed and you can use this plugin. So in QGIS, you can add the data, you can symbolize the data, you can change the layers name, you can do all the operation which you can we have done in ArcMap, right? uh, you can add the plugins, you can add the base map, and you can explore other options as well. You can draw the same map which you drawn. Okay, wait for the couple of minutes while this plugin is installed. Then I will be showing you how to add a base map in QGIS, right? Okay, this plugin has been successfully installed. Just close it and just close it. We are not using it now. Okay, close. Now here you can just go to the plugin section, right? In the plugin section, type open layers plugin, right? It has been already installed. This plugin allows you to open different types of maps, right? Open layers plugin, no, it is not installed. Let's install it. It is a very useful plugin. Once it is installed, we will see. Okay, once I have installed this plugin, I can go to the web section, open layer plugin, and here I can see that I have various types of maps. Just click OpenStreetMap, which is easily addable. It will take some time based on the speed of your internet. Your base map will be added, right? So wait for the couple of minutes. Till then, we will revise this section. Okay, getting started with QGIS, we opened up QGIS from our start menu. We went to the section, right? Now in QGIS, we added some data. Now let's take a detailed look at each of these elements, right? First, we went in overview, speed overview, just to have a basic hand on what QGIS is, right? Uh, Now we will see in detail that what each section does and how to use this, right? So QGIS, the first is the layer list or browser panel, toolbar, map canvas, status bar. Here it is, right? So you can see that this is our first section, that was layers list or toolbars. Here it is displayed. This is our layer list, right? The next section, that is toolbar section, section 2. We have it over here. We can see zoom in, zoom out tool like we have used in ArcMap, right? Basic zooming, panning, basic tools. Okay, the next section is our map canvas, where map is displayed, right? This is our map canvas. Now it is more clear. The fourth one is status bar, right? This screen at the lower section, which shows you if the map is adding or if the process is in process, right? Here it will be displayed. For example, when we loaded the base map, you will load it again and see that here a process window appears, right? And the last one, that is the fifth section, is the status bar that shows the status of some process, right? If the data is added, it will be displayed over here, etc. And the next section is the QGIS plugins, which I have already shown you that if you want to use any plugin, just go to the plugin section, right? Go to manage and install plugin, type the name and click on install plugin and click OK. That plugin will be installed. For example, I have installed semi-automatic classification plugin that is displayed over here, and then I used open layers plugin, right? This plugin allows me to fetch various base maps. One was OpenStreetMap. I clicked on that and it opened up. Now just want to show you that OSM humanitarian data model. Let's try this one, that whether this data set opens or not. Okay, it is opening over here. OpenStreetMap, I have unchecked OpenStreetMap. Now OSM humanitarian data model, it is open. Similarly, you can use the Google or other imageries which are available, right? So this is the basic of QGIS plugin. Now adding the vector layer, right, and changing the name, and similarly adding the displaying the vector attributes, right? Okay, I have already told you, just go to the layer section. You have to click on add vector layer, select your vector file .shp format, right? Click on add button. Your vector file will be displayed, right? For example, I have this one cities. This vector file was displayed. Like in ArcMap, you can click on the open attribute table. You can view what record this vector file has. Similarly, like in ArcMap, you can go to the properties section and change the symbology, right? Change the labels. Symbology, for example, this is simple. I want to change it with this symbol. Just click apply, just click OK. The cities will be displayed with this star symbol, right? So adding the vector file, viewing the vector file, and changing the symbology of the vector file is simple now. Saving your QGIS project, that is the same way you did for the Arc project. Save as and browse to your folder, click OK, right? Using the plugin, we have already dealt with this. Okay, the next one is adding the raster layer. We have added the raster layer, add layer, and click on add raster layer, right? Go to the folder. For example, this is .tiff format, calaveras.tiff. Just click on add. It will be added over here. Okay, once your raster layer is being added, just go to the zoom to layer section and you will see that this raster is basically a satellite image of an area, right? Okay, the next one is to create a map. Creating a map in ArcMap is very simple, right? And in QGIS, it is less user friendly, right? So it has a function which is called as the print composer function, right? That allows you to create a map and generate some output of that map, right? I will show you how to do this, right? Open QGIS. Okay, the next is to go to the print composer section. Okay, in the project section, just you have to go to the print layout, right? You have to click on my first map, click OK, and here you can draw your map, but I will prefer that we have to go for, if you have ArcMap, use that. If you do not have, then use this. Similarly, you can add the various items, legend, north arrow, rectangle, etc. And then you can use other tools as well, right? So this is the map layout window where you can map and add your data items. Now the next thing that is important is to how to download some imagery, right? Raster imagery, that is to using Google Earth. So you have to go to this link, earthexplorer.usgs.gov. You have to register yourself up, and then in that section enter your search criteria, address, and zoom to your section, use map option, specify the date, click data set, and then specify the cloud covers, and then proceed to checkout option and download your product, right? We will cover this downloading in detail later on, but for till now we have covered almost arc catalog, arc map, and QGIS. Thank you. That's all for today's lab.